Today is episode 5 of my web journal podcast for Lent. Today's topic is my testimony. Let's get into it. I mentioned previously that I came out to my parents in 1992. I grew up in the Southern Baptist Church. I grew up loving church. I grew up loving everything about church, except for how the people treated each other. Watching like these power dynamics and these struggles between families that had and families that had not, and these stations that we assigned ourselves, based on what part of what neighborhood we lived in, and there was this hierarchy that just never made sense to me. That just put a pin in that for a minute. I was content living in Statesville because it's what I knew, but there was always something that felt very off. And truth be told, I knew I wasn't attracted to girls in the same way that my older brother was attracted to girls, but I couldn't quite explain it because, when you're younger, you don't know these things. But things started becoming clearer when puberty hit and feelings started happening, and all of it was confusing and contradicting. And then the whole my dad doing the whole what the parts are and how to use them, and yeah, technically I'm a hypervigilant thinker because of being slightly traumatized, I think, as a child, but I overthink everything. And I knew what to do and I knew how to do it. I just didn't know if I would be capable, because I knew that certain things had to happen and they didn't happen for me in the same way. Again, I digress. My testimony has to do with the fact that when I came out to my parents the first time, I went back home for a weekend after that, and I went to church. The sermon was about me. It's about being gay and about going to hell and about Leviticus 18 and 22 and how horrible I was. And I'm sitting right there in the pew and I'm just like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. And I got up and I left. At the end of that service, I was pretty much done with church. But I couldn't leave Jesus. I couldn't because I was raised with the golden rule, and I believed in Jesus Christ, and I believed that if I just walked away and I took the golden rule with me, that would suffice. And I'll be honest with you, I think it guided me because it kept me tethered to my Savior. I refused to not abide by that rule. I tried every single day of my life to treat people the way I wanted to be treated. And what's so funny is I saw myself doing it, and I didn't see a whole lot of other people doing it. A whole lot of people that went to church, a whole lot of people that called themselves Christians did not seem to be doing the same thing I was doing. But who am I to judge, right? All I know is that's how I survived. Then some bad things. Everybody has bad, but some bad things happened in a short period of time. So let's get into that part. In 2016, 2017, my father's health started to decline. We basically knew that the end was near, but you never know how much time you have. And I'm thankful to God that year we had this wonderful Thanksgiving, and you could just tell in this weird way that my dad knew it was going to be his last. And it was. About a month later, before Christmas, he was gone. December 21st, 2017. We prepared for the memorial service. The memorial service happened December 29th. My husband and my friends come back to Durham on the 29th. I come back on the 30th. My husband and I hang out on the 31st. Our friend comes over on the 1st. My husband says he doesn't feel well. I take him to the emergency room thinking he has the flu. He ends up in a coma with sepsis. Almost dies. Was in a coma for debatably 10 to 14 days. I remember it being almost 14. He says 10, but we won't argue about that. almost died several times. After that, we had to close his business. We had to basically file all this paperwork to just survive financially. We had to do the things that people have to do, but I just never gave up on that golden rule. And then by this point, my mom, a woman of strong faith, was showing up to help us out. She was showing up every week, and they were having these conversations about faith while she was helping him get to appointments, doctor's appointments, that if I was getting him to those, I'd lose my job. But my mom, nope, she had it. She does that for everybody. So why not her son? He starts to get better. We start to level out financially and figure things out. And then his father gets sick. And then we cared for his father actually in this very room in our home before we helped him get back home and helped him pass away. Jesus never left my side, right? By this point, we'd found a church too. So I was really starting to feel something that said, maybe this was all for me. Even though all those people were saying it wasn't. And then my father-in-law passed away. And then right after that, I lost my job for a year. And then COVID hit. So it took me forever to find a job. But I never lost faith. Right when our money was just about out, I got the dream job. And it's so funny because my mom said, well, write down what you want from God, which I did, and sincerely give it to God, which I did. And not only did God give me everything on my list, he extended it. I wanted to be close to home. He gave me a job working from my home. I wanted to make, as much money. He gave me that exact thing that I had at my old job, the exact dollar amount I had, but I no longer had to pay for gas to commute. My testimony is that even though I am this gay man that people say that God turned away from, God didn't turn away from me. I am a testimony to tell you that if you believe that there's not a place in God's kingdom for gay people, for trans people, for lesbians, for prostitutes, like the Bible is filled with people who were lifted up, like you want to throw them away, socially and societally, you want to throw us away. We are here and we are human. And that same Jesus, that same Savior who died on that cross for you, died on that cross for me, died on that cross for that family crossing the Rio Grande looking for a better way of life, died on that cross for the people who are in the prisons that you won't touch when they come out, even after they've served their time. That's the Savior that we all serve. And I never lost faith that Jesus had me, even when church didn't. And then I found the church that said, come on in. You are welcome here. All I'm telling you is, you hear all this stuff about gay being evil and trans being evil. Human is not evil. God made human. Human can't be evil. Now, human can choose to do evil things, and human chooses often to do evil things. But make sure before you discount anybody, make sure they've hurt you directly. And then I want you to consider the fact that on that cross, your Savior and mine told us all what he had in store for us. He said, Father, forgive them all because they don't know what they're doing. So how about we work towards some forgiveness? This is my testimony. I do not judge. I do not condemn, and I try my best to forgive. And in case you wonder if I forget that, Luke 6:37 is tattooed on my arm, so I never forget it. Go in peace.